And welcome to Rob Schmitt tonight. Right now, Joe Biden's getting juiced up for his second State of the Union address. Biden will enter the House chamber well past his bedtime. He'll speak for over an hour. It'll be another spectacle of deception. The candidate who sold himself as a moderate and then morphed into a saboteur of America. Biden will mask incompetence as progress and draw your attention to politically advantageous issues and away from the actual rapid decline of the state of our union. Over the weekend, our government allowed a Chinese surveillance balloon to float all the way across our country at basically a snail's pace. The balloon sailed right over our military installations, and your government, which spends nearly $1 trillion of your dollars annually on self-defense, had every intention of doing nothing and hiding their inaction from you. But when the balloon was discovered by regular Americans, that changed. But still, the government chose inaction until the balloon had clearly finished its mission and was sailing over the Atlantic Ocean. As an Air Force F-22 circled and shot down this empty balloon, people living in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, taped the moment and pretended that they were watching a display of American strength and resolve. Here's some of that.
Here we go. We got it. Boom!
And you can hear them screaming and hollering. In reality, though, we shouldn't be impressed by any of this. We should be embarrassed. A jet that we paid $250 million for, being operated by one of the finest combat pilots on the planet, shooting down a balloon long after the moment had passed. It was, in reality, a flex of incompetence. What's the point of having the finest military in the world when it's controlled by a government intent on subverting conflict by submitting to our adversaries? The real State of the Union is a nation now entirely led by apologists, a government falling all over itself to appease the rest of the world at your expense. Your government has been brainwashed by the rest of the world, brainwashed by globalists. We now see evil all around the world and look for ways to blame ourselves. We didn't used to do that. It's a cancer that started under Barack Obama. And Biden was the perfect fool to carry it on. A president with no backbone, singularly concerned with his own political career and enriching his family, willing to do or say anything that his party demands. That's who's leading your country. And here's what he had to say about this balloon saga that exposed so much about him.
Does this change your speech tomorrow night, sir, and your foreign policy message?
The speech and the larger pieces about his foreign policy have not been reworked because of this balloon.
Does the balloon weaken U.S.-Chinese relations?
No. We made it clear to China what we're going to do. They understand our position. We're not going to back off. We did the right thing.
America's great. We're doing great, says Joe Biden. He loves to remind you of that. This is handling China well, according to the White House, and no plan to change the speech because our government has absolutely no idea what to do to counter a nation that controls a massive swath of our private sector, poisons our kids with its technology, and fully intends on replacing us on the world stage. They're clueless. Your government let this happen because the Chinese bribed most of them to sell out their country. That's why the Pentagon is apparently happy to watch these balloons float right through the United States. We normally don't even shoot them down. We only did this time because the American people saw it and demanded it. A new Trafalgar survey shows how Americans really feel about how this was all handled. Nearly 60% of Americans say we are now weaker as a country. 59% say we should have shot down the balloon much sooner before it even entered our country. The State of the Union is a nation in decline on almost every single front, and our problems are being largely ignored in many cases by both political parties. As a nation, we've simply gotten too fat, we've gotten too lazy. Shiftless, spoiled, apathetic, a society living too well, creating its own problems in the wake of real issues, and our government is really good at that, while the rest of the world conspires to knock us off of our perch. The Chinese balloon is the perfect example of America's lagging, and even if Xi Jinping doesn't get one useful photo of our nuclear weapons depot in the state of Montana, he has learned tons by how we handled this, a nation on its heels.